rant alert. This is going to be a short rant video. So, Angela Duckworth, the grit lady, I think she's a professor at UPenn. She got her PhD at Penn from Martin Seligman, who's a brilliant psychologist. He created the whole positive psychology movement. His books are like a must-read. Everyone on the planet should read his books. Like, he's brilliant. He's super smart. Angela Duckworth is one of his students, and I think she's a bit of a phony and a fake. I think that her research is very derivative, and this whole thing about grit is just total nonsense to me. So here's the story. Like, I read the book. I bought the book as soon as it came out. This was a long time ago, obviously. I got it on Kindle, and at the time there were a lot of bugs with Kindle. So sometimes like the font would be all scrunched together, or it'd be like really spaced apart. So it'd be like 5 words per page and sections missing and stuff like that. And you'd have to reload and get customer support. So I'm reading the book, and like it's really easy to read. So I read it, skimmed it, and I got to the end and I was like, what? Is that it? What am I missing here? And I honestly thought that there was a bug. And there was I thought there was whole chapters and sections missing. I was like, this couldn't be it. This couldn't be the whole book. But on the whole, like, even what I've read, I was like, this is really weak. It's kind of lame. Isn't she just talking about patience or diligence? Or why is she like making up this? She calls it grit, and then she acts like she invented it, She like discovered this heretofore never appreciated or understood or seen, phenomenon about human nature. And then the funny thing is, like, years later, my wife read the Korean version, and she got like a little bit into it, and she's like, what the fuck is this? She had the exact same reaction. It was so hilarious. She was like, is this it? Isn't she just talking about like conscientiousness? And I was like, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, she's got good credentials. So I read her research papers. And then when I read her research papers, I realized she was a phony because it's really derivative. I've studied a lot of psychology over the years. I've taken courses. And in the psychology world, conscientiousness is one of the big 5 traits. It's almost like it's canon in psychology. This has been around for decades, this research on conscientiousness, the importance of it. And one of the first things you learn is that more than intelligence, more than your IQ, right? More than your any other like factor. Conscientiousness is by far the biggest determinant to success in life. And this is not news. There's nothing groundbreaking about that. Every psychologist learns this. You could take a Psych 101 class in college and learn this, okay? So every psychologist knows this. And it's exactly the same stuff that Angela Duckworth talks about. She just calls it a different thing, grit. I don't even think she uses the word conscientiousness. And that's another thing that kind of tipped me off. Is like, she won't use it because she's trying to replace it with this other word. And then she built this career, and presumably she's made a lot of money off her books and speaking engagements, but it just seems it's kind of the antithesis of what I'm doing here, which is trying to come up with original novel insights and observations. And I had forgotten about it, but then I'm on this Paul Bloom kick right now, where I'm thinking a lot and researching and reading and rereading about Paul Bloom's works. And he's so original, and he's so insightful, and he's so smart. Like, smart meaning he can see things that other people can't see. He has the courage to ask questions that other people don't want to ask or can't ask, and then he can articulate it in a very intelligible but also sophisticated manner. He doesn't dumb it down where you're missing out key parts of it, right? And then you have people like Angela Duckworth. So I'm not attacking her personally. It's just, I think that the bar for academia continues to get lower. And I wonder if she's part of that early movement to do that, because she was so praised and she got so much spotlight from her work. And here's my last point. If I was her, I wouldn't have changed it to grit. Well, let's say you do change it to grit. And the reason you do it is because it's easier for people to say. It's easier than conscientiousness. It's more marketable, it's more palatable, it's easier for people to understand. And so you can introduce this concept to a lot of people, right? But I wouldn't say, I would mention conscientiousness and say, this has been around for a long time, I'm not doing anything new, blah, blah, blah. I would have done meta studies rather than studies on grit, rehashing stuff that dozens and dozens of other psychologists have already done on conscientiousness. And just play the role of a popularizer, which is very, very, very important in society. The world goes around because of salesmen who can take difficult products and concepts and then sell them to people to get them to adopt it. And this is how society progresses. So she can play that role, but I wish she would just acknowledge it and just be honest about it. Other than what she's doing now, and then she comes off as a phony.